I don't know how many of you here feel like you had a plan A for your life. Anyone? I was with a group of girlfriends at college one night, and we were sitting around talking about our plan A. And long story short, we went through kind of all my plans, and I was on plan K that night. And this was actually before my mission, so that wasn't good. And I was on plan K, and I thought, okay, well, great. Plan K, I'm sure, is going to be just wonderful. And I remember getting together with a similar group of girls a couple years later, and we did the same little experiment again, and by then I was on plan W. And that was a decade ago, so now we're like in the Greek alphabet. We've like surpassed the 26 letters. We're on alpha, beta, gamma. I don't even know the Greek alphabet, but I'm somewhere on the Greek alphabet. And I guess because I realized things hadn't really evolved in my life the way I thought they would, I started to develop some ideas about my life, and not just about my life, but about my Father in heaven and the way he viewed my life. There's a scripture in Matthew that I'm sure many of you are familiar with. It's Matthew 7, verses 7 through 11. And it always kind of was intriguing to me. It starts with, ask and ye shall receive, seek and ye shall find, knock and it shall be open unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. And then in verse 9, it asks a very interesting question. What man is there of you, whom if his son ask bread, will ye give him a stone? I always was intrigued because it acts like that's a ridiculous question. And I was thinking, I don't mean to interrupt, but I've asked for bread, and I've been given lots of stones. They're really pretty stones, don't get me wrong. But they're stones and not bread. And I really struggled with that for years. I frankly, if I'm being totally honest, which I might as well be, because I told you about the, lose the weight thing. I had stopped asking because I felt like every time I asked for bread, almost as if I was being like, oh, well, we'll see how you'll handle this one. I was given a stone. And it was right after this obstacle came up. Last February, I actually was in the middle of my training, and I had a back injury unlike any back injury, and I was convinced I was never going to walk again. And it was bad, in fairness to me, but I was also worst case scenario girl, so I was never going to walk again. And I went and I got a blessing from a dear friend's husband, and not knowing how I felt about this scripture or how I felt about this issue, he said to me in that blessing, your Father wants to give you bread when you ask for bread. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, what if he does? What if he actually does? Because it had been a very long time since I had asked for any bread. And I decided to choose that night to believe in a God who wants to give me bread when I ask for bread. And I started to ask again.